I was mixing this song, and I thought, you know what, this is really cool. Let's share this. Because yeah, I fell into this process that I'm doing that I think is working out really well for this song. So I'm gonna play you a little bit of what's going on, what kind of song this is. So it's a rock pop kind of song. It is in Spanish though, but you're still gonna get out a lot, the same things. They still sing in Spanish in the same frequencies as we do in English. So thank God. So let's check this out.
Ayer me dejaste de querer y ahora no lo puedo comprender. Que viste en tu imaginación un hombre perfecto, pues no lo soy.
So what do we have on the screen? And this is my my process that I've been using for this song that I feel like it's one of those like, why didn't I do this before kind of moments where I like to have everything on the screen ready for me to see. So usually when you're mixing vocals, let me get all this out of here. Usually when you're mixing vocals, you got your track, right? And let's get rid of this. And this is what you see, and if you want to do some like changes on it, right now it's linked to the bottom track because I have the what do you call it? The parallel compression on this bottom track. So I'm going to, for example, if I do any change in volume in one, it has to respect in the other one, just so the difference is always relative to each other. But, if you want to do like a volume automation on the track, then you have to go to volume and you have to, select the part that you want to turn up or down. Let's say, let's hear through. All right. What if we turn down the little small things here? Just turn them up in volume just a little bit, and that's kind of like the process. And then if you want to turn up the delay or turn down the delay in this phrase, then you have to go to your delay and you have to, there's fast ways to do it. Of course, hit Control Command and hold them while you click on the parameter and you find the automation, but it's cooler if you can just see everything. If you're mixing vocals and this is your focus right now, I've been learning how to be a little more streamlined and more organized into, all right, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to see it all the way through. If I find anything else that needs my attention, I'll write it down, but I'm not going to go scatterbrain and go do that in the middle of doing something else, in the middle of doing something else. You can see how that can become a problem. So yeah, I did a little bit of volume tweaking there, but it'd be really cool if I could have, for example, my waveform. So I can always see my waveform. That in that case, if I need to do any cutting of the audio itself, and if I want to do some clip gain in this method, I can do it. If I need to move stuff around, edit things, so I'm on polyphonic mode, I can stretch notes and stuff. I like to have that view. So if I'm focusing that much on vocals, why don't I open, another track? It's not another track, sorry. It's like it's sub view of the same track. I like that about Pro Tools. It's showing you, it's called automation lanes. All right, I didn't know what it was actually called. Yeah, and open different automation lanes. So I'm gonna open one for volume. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna open one for my send to my vocal reverb. I'm gonna definitely use that. I use the plus sign here to open more. You can open more as long as you have more things, more parameters to edit automation from. I'm gonna make sure that these are all at the same, the same size. We have them all at large, and there, I have a clear view of everything that's going on in the vocal. I don't need to automate my send to my parallel compression because that's always stuck in one place. I'm not really interested in moving that around. That'd be kind of weird. And I can also bring up to view the sends one after the other. So you got vocal reverb here, and you have your delay, vocal delay there. So that way it's really easy for me. So I've been mixing like this, and right now we gotta jump into the next verse. So for example, let's play the next verse and let's see what we have. So too much effects, obviously. So let's turn off the effects. I can make, there's different ways to do this. I like to do my automation with mouse and clicking and stuff. Some people like to do live automation where they play the track and they do the movements. Not very well versed in that. I know what I'm good at. So Yeah, I'm gonna write down these automation ports already there, and that way I can turn down the effects. Let's turn them all the way down. Boom. And see how the vocal sits as far as volume goes, and its place.
Ayer tuviste que partir.
So even if I would want a dry vocal there, I don't like having no reverb at all. You just can really hear that he's in a little tiny room in a studio, and I don't like that.
Ayer tuviste que partir.
So say something like that. I can turn up a little more. Let's just make sure if it's working.
Ayer
All right, the reverb is working.
tuviste que
And put it down a level where you can't really hear it for this verse, I think would be cool.
Ayer tuviste que partir.
Although you can't really perceive it that loud. And I have headphones on. They're a little louder than what I have set up at the speakers. I don't like to move this volume, but this helps to hear, especially things like reverbs. I hear them better sometimes on headphones. So just gonna give it another listen.
Ayer tuviste que partir.
Yeah, I don't particularly hear reverb, but it sounds better than if I take that off. And I don't know if I want delay. I can try it out. We can give it a try. Don't think I'll keep it.
Ayer tuviste que partir.
Let's turn it up. I can't hear much.
Ayer tuviste que partir. Y ahora no sé cómo sentir.
I think it adds a little subtle coolness factor to the vocal. I don't know about you guys. I like it.
Ayer tuviste que partir. Y ahora no sé cómo sentir.
Been really tripping out about what is it in delays that we like about vocals and melodies so much. And I think from what I've been thinking, it's a lot of things going on. I mean, you can add to it if you find something else, but one of the things that is really cool is you have notes repeating, right? And they're repeating over other notes that the person is singing. So it's kind of like the notes that delay is repeating sometimes harmonize with the notes that he's singing currently. I think that's one of the things. The other cool thing that I like about him is it just kind of adds movement. It adds kind of like an extra dance, like kind of like a rhythm that the vocal can bounce on top of. That's one of the things that come to mind of why I like delays on vocals or melodies, because guitar solos can actually benefit a lot from delays too. And then we get to another section before the chorus, and I like to edit that separately just because it has its own thing going on. And let me see where the chorus actually starts for the vocal, because it kind of can see from the shape that it's kind of mixed in. All right, so making sure this is where it starts. So I'm gonna make an automation point here, here, and here, and set up like a general level for this part of the song, where I know right off the bat, and sometimes I do my visual experiments and then I try them out because I don't know if they're gonna be accurate, but I think this would be nice. Let's see if I'm actually in the right path. No, it's not. That's too much delay, and I don't like it. I don't like the sound of that. Too much reverb too. Let's see if I take that down, if it's cool. It's just in general really cool workflow, having everything visually here to just keep going on the song. And like I said, I like to streamline my process. If I'm doing a mix, I'm doing a mix. I'm not cleaning the house. I'm not, like going out for errands. I'm doing my mix. And same thing within the mix. If I'm going to tackle the bass guitar, I'm going to tackle the bass guitar and see it through. If I'm going to edit the vocal, I'm going to edit the vocal from beginning to end. So same thing here. I'm going to set up volume and delay and reverb sends all the way through. And also at this point, I'm also making sure, so I have my track view here. If there's anything that feels out of time with the song, if there's any pitch corrections that I need to rewatch, I can do that from here as well. So that's something cool that I like to do. Something I want to share with you guys that I've been doing with Melodyne. So I use Melodyne. It really, if you don't use Melodyne, this might not be that relevant, but it's a great plugin to use for tuning vocals. And there's one specific thing I like, my workflow to be is I leave my plugin, off, but I leave it in the track. So what you're seeing right now is the bounce or the results of using Melodyne, and it's already imported into the track. Pro Tools has made it really easy where you can pretty much, if I like this, for example, if I'm using Melodyne and I like the tuning that I did, let's collapse all this view. Oh, I did some, oh no, that's cool. So if I like what I did here, let me just unselect the group. It's really cool that you can just pretty much select it, press commit. Really important though, if you have plugins after your, well, I don't really need this. This is just for demonstration. If there's plugins here, you need to turn them off, but you press commit and it's going to save everything that you did in Melodyne. I'm going to do like a really short example, although I'm going to delete it. Say we tuned the vocal, I press commit and it tells me where to do it. Do it after the selected track. Don't put it in the same group assignment just for now. There you go. Now you can hear me. That's what I would usually do if this is, the raw vocal, then I would create a new playlist and it looked like this. I'd go new, yes sir, and bring this puppy in there. And then what I do is I turn off Melodyne and turn everything else back on. That way, and this is what it allows me to do. Now, granted, I don't have to do this because this was already Melodyned, so I'm just doing it extra for demonstration. Let's delete this extra track that happened. The cool thing about this is, and what's really flexible is, I spend a chunk of time dealing with tuning vocals, and you're isolated in that world of tuning vocals and finding the note. And does this note suck? Do I leave this in because it's off, but it's off by a little bit and it sounds sexy? All right, I'll leave this in. You're starting to take all these decisions, but then when you start mixing and really putting things in their proper perspective, there could be a note or two that escapes. So what I like to do and eases my workflow is to keep the plugin on. That way, just like I showed you, if there's, for example, this note, if there was something particularly wrong with that note, then I can pretty much open Melodyne, turn these guys off, and look at what's going on, fix it, and then hold down, like I did before, just select this, do a right click, press commit, it's gonna open in the bottom track, and I just drag it up, and then I turn off Melodyne. The reason why it's important to turn off Melodyne after each use is because whatever you see on the screen, if you have Melodyne on, it's kind of like it doesn't care. Melodyne doesn't really care. So if I turn on Melodyne, for example, and I were to delete this, you still hear it because what you do with the workflow with Melodyne is you upload the audio to the plugin and it works in tandem with what you're playing in the session. It knows where you are. But once you try to do any changes here, it's not really respecting what's on the timeline anymore. And I don't like that. So I like to do all my tuning, turn it off. Also, I'm not dependent on it, and someone can open the session and the vocal can be tuned without them having to necessarily have the plugin. And so yeah, so I like to turn off the plugin. That way, if there are any changes that I want to do, any edits, whether it be volume, whether it be timing, whatever, I can do them and it's going to play them. I don't know what I was doing there. It just looked kind of cool. So yeah, that's kind of the workflow that I'm going right now. I just wanted to share it really quickly. If there's any questions, let me know. I have a link on the description. If you want to learn mixing once and for all, I'm in the same boat as you, but Mastermind does help learn faster. It's just the right environment, I guess. We have a lot of people making the same song together, and that really adds up. I mean, it's rare to have those occasions where you're mixing a song at the same time as someone else. Usually the only person in the world mixing a song. So we can give each other feedback. We give feedback to one student each week. And, generally the feedback is always going to be helpful to everybody because it's the same song. We're facing the same challenges and things like that. We have weekly classes as well. We have tons of videos that can help you get through the mix of each month. And after 12 months, dude, you've mixed 12 songs of different genres with the help of other people online. I assure you, your mixes are not going to sound the same. And the thing is, you're already learning on your own, and I don't take away credit for that. But there are ways to learn faster. Mastermind is a great way just because it's a great platform to do it. But the bottom line is there are ways to learn faster. One of the big ones for me is having people listen to my mixes, sharing them, being a little bit more vulnerable with that, and hearing feedback. And sometimes from professionals, sometimes from people that don't know anything about audio. Both are useful. Both are really helpful. Been talking about editing the vocals and mixing them, and talking about how I'm routing it to different, to a reverb and to a delay. Haven't talked about these effects. One of the ones that I want to get into before I log off is the delay itself. So nothing particularly special about it. It's just what I'm doing to it. It's kind of cool. It's not really like going to change your mixes from day and night, but it is something to think about. So I have this delay right here. And if we zero in on the vocal and see what's going on, we're going to hear the delay act a little more prominently. Let's check that out. I'm going to turn off the reverb just for now.
Yo solo quise alguien que me quisiera como soy.
Okay, and I have, for some reason, I decided to put this plugin on, and it's a time adjuster. Basically, I'm taking the right and I am delaying it by 1,300 samples. I don't know second-wise how much that is. I'd have to do the math. Not good at math. It's just separating the left from the right a little bit. A lot of delays, sometimes when you put something mono to them, what they bounce back is completely mono. Even if it's a stereo plugin, it's going to bounce back things in mono. And there are delays out there that can randomize sometimes even the left and the right. This plugin is not the case. I'm just extending the right channel by a little bit, and it gives you very different effects depending on how much you separate the left from the right. And I want to show you a little bit. I'm going to do it on the chorus because we have a lot of delay effect going on there. So I'm going to start off with both of them at 4 samples. It's not going to be doing much. It should sound pretty much the same. So you have your mono delay there. Now, if I were to make this, really exaggerated up to, I don't know, 4,600 samples. Now they're kind of bouncing back. That sounds more like a ping pong kind of delay. And that's not what I'm looking for. There are ways to do that in this plugin that I have. But if I go a little before that, before it's down, you really start perceiving them as separate sounds. You start hearing interesting things. And, actually to hear this better, I'm going to exaggerate the feedback. Let's remember that it's on 30 right now, just so I can hear the delay a little better. Perhaps too much, but it helps with this demonstration. So that's what it sounds like there. Let me see what it sounds like if I bring it closer together. So you have all these different places you can put it. The closer you have them together, the more they phase out, and it sounds kind of interesting. Sorry, there's little blips that are going on. I don't know what plugin is causing that. Yeah, so generally when it comes to delay, and this is something, I don't know if you've heard it before, when you have 2 signals really close together, they phase each other out, In this case, they're one's on the left, one's on the right, so they're not really phasing electronically or anything, but auditively, if they do sum up together before they get to your ears, there is some like phasing effect going on. That's kind of cool. And then once you get after that, after like, I don't know timing wise what's going on with samples. I wonder if you can change the time to see something else. But once you're at around 100 milliseconds, you start perceiving it more as a delay and not that much as phasing. So it's somewhere around there where I want to be. Then after that, you start hearing separation between it. It starts sounding like a tape echo kind of thing. Then after that, it sounds farther enough where it sounds like a repetition, So there's this whole range of places to play with, and I think it's really cool. It just adds a little bit more depth to your stereo field to delay one of the signals on your delay. Just one of the things to keep in mind when dealing with vocals. And let's see what that sounds like with a whole mix. It shouldn't make, like I say, this isn't day and night, but it's cool things to think about. Some delays, this one doesn't. I just love this delay, even though it doesn't have the option. But some of them have in the actual delay unit a way to kind of move one side from the other so that they're playing slightly different time. And now with everything, that should sound like.
Solo quise alguien que me quisiera como soy. No soy perfecto.
That is obviously need to bring it back. I forgot about that. It was sounding really washy. Yeah, bring back the feedback to believe I was at 30. Let's leave it at 29, whatever.
Solo quise.
So yeah, that's gonna just give a little bit more of a stereo depth that I think is pretty cool. So if there's any questions, anything at all of what I've talked about before I log off, just let me know. I like, you know, something I think people who ask questions, you know, end up learning things that, you know, sometimes if you don't ask a question, you're left with a doubt, and you don't want to do that this year. Big example, me when I was in school, and I always remember this, the teacher that told me I wasn't paying attention, I was eating a booger or something, and I caught attention when she was mentioning something, and then she said, and that's the most important thing you'll hear in all your life. And I don't know what it was, and I felt embarrassed to like be like, hey, I wasn't paying attention, can you repeat it? It sounded like it was important. So I was left with that doubt. And sure, maybe it wasn't anything, maybe it was just something dumb about how to sharpen a pencil, but maybe I would be somewhere very different right now. I don't know. But the thing is, I didn't ask. So yeah, it's just something good to remember, you know. It's just a good tip that I'm throwing out there. But yeah, I might go live later today because I have another song and I'm doing some vocal editing, and it's vastly different from this. So I just downloaded a plugin from Antares, and they do this one. It's a harmony engine. You can make multiple harmonies out of one vocal, and I used it in part of the vocal production. I also did, you know, natural harmonies as well. But I think it's a really cool production. I want to do a live session today based on that one because the workflow is very different from what I'm doing today. And that song is a little more finished than this one. This one I still, like you see, I'm still integrating volume control, sense and all that, but it's still got a little bit more to go. The other one's more finished, and you know, it's one of those that I want to release, but it's just not ready, and I got to pace myself. Hyman says, I use Cubase and I have a good pitch correction. Oh man, good for you. And you know, like I was saying how I know that I'm used to Melodyne and I know that Autotune is better. Same thing with DAWs. I'm not convinced that Pro Tools is the same DAW out there. There's things I love about it, and there's things I love about it that I don't see in other plugins. I like the way you can work with playlists here. I like how it allows you to record. It's just really good to record. It's got a lot of editing tools that just I'm really fast with already. But I know it's not the best one out there. And I've seen how Studio One or Cubase include things that Pro Tools doesn't. And Pro Tools does give you stock plugins and does leave you with sounds to start off the bat. I think that's cool. Expand is a really good plugin. But you don't have a way to tune things. You don't have a bunch of little things. You don't have a multiband compressor. You don't have just so many things that they've already thought of in other programs. We don't even know we're missing out here in Pro Tools. And every time something new comes out in Pro Tools, you hear the same old like, oh, we've had that for 10 years now, you know? And it's true. It's a valid point. But it's what I'm used to, and I work super fast at it. And yeah, I'm very proficient at Pro Tools. I know all the shortcuts, and I love making music in it. And the important thing is to make music. And, you know, quality-wise, all programs are going to be the same. It's just certain things like that, you know? If I were to use a new DAW, if I didn't have Pro Tools and I need to buy a new one, and it couldn't be Pro Tools, I'd want to check out Ableton Live. It's just some things that you can do and that I'm blown away by. Yeah, just the way you can just add up to your sessions on the fly is really creative. How it's a hybrid between a, you know, recording, mixing DAW and a live performance audio station, and it excels at both, and it intertwines both workflows in ways that it's not comprehensible. when you're used to working in Pro Tools. And I don't fully understand it. I need to brush up on it too. But if there was something I want to try and do classes on, I would definitely love to get into Ableton Live. It's just a great program overall. But yeah, thanks for everybody that tuned in. I'm going to log off now. We have a YouTube channel as well. It's PSL Lab, I believe. I'm uploading all these things as well, just a little more edited out. But we have a channel there. We're going live there as well. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. Check out the link on the description. Mastermind is a great way to learn a lot faster. I know you're already learning, but if you want to learn faster, check out Mastermind. Just check it out. Check out the link. It's going to describe it better than I can in a live video. But it's a great way to learn. Mix a new song every month, and we give each other feedback. I think it's great. So thanks, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.